Hi everyone, Miss Knittycat here, and this time I have a tutorial where I'm going to show you how to do Tunisian crochet. Tunisian crochet is a very simple technique. It uses a crochet hook that has a hook on either side. You can have a short crochet hook like this, or you can have a crochet hook that has a longer sort of tail attached to it if you want to knit or rather crochet longer projects or projects that are bigger, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But the cool thing about Tunisian crochet is that it ends up giving you this really pretty sort of even pattern, as you can see here, and it's nice little squares, and in each square you have these 4 little corners, which enables it really easy to do any kind of embroidery that you might want to do, or cross stitch even. Here I have an example of a sunglasses case that I done with this Tunisian crochet technique, and as you can see, I've done little embroidery here with just some little hearts. Okay, and when you first do Tunisian crochet, your piece will tend to curl up or roll up like this. Do not be discouraged if that happens, because all you have to do is do some steam blocking to it, or just block it, and once you block it, it will lay flat, as you can see here with this placemat that I crocheted using the Tunisian crochet technique. So let's get started. What I have here is a Tunisian crochet size J hook. The crochet hooks used for this technique tend to be or need to be bigger than your standard crochet hooks. And the difference between this and a standard crochet hook is that it is even all through, because you'll see that Tunisian crochet is almost a cross between knitting and crocheting. So just like we do with knitting, you're going to start off by making a slip knot, leave a little bit of a tail, and if you know crochet, then you know how to do a single chain and chain a few number of stitches. If you don't know how to do crochet and chain stitches, I have another video in which I've demonstrated how to do a chain, and I will provide a link to that in the description. So what you want to do is you want to cast on, or not cast on, sorry. I'm probably going to use a lot of knitting references here, just from force of habit, since I knit more than I crochet. But, and forgive me for that, but while you're chaining, you want to make a few number of stitches, or the desired number of stitches. You want to make that many chains. So I've just made a few chains here. You want to cast these or make these chains a little loose, not super tight. Okay, so we'll do one more. And this is sort of the base from which you are now going to pick up stitches. So to pick up stitches from this chain, you'll notice that the chain, I've laid it flat over here. It's got these rounds, these chains, but if we flip it, it's got these dashes that run along the back, and I call that the spine. Okay, so here's your very first stitch, and that has its own little dash. But then what you want to do is you want to start picking up and making stitches onto this hook by going into each one of these dashes. So you want to skip that very first one that's attached to this chain. You want to skip that one, and you want to insert it into the dash right here of the second one. Okay, so insert your hook in there and just pull out a stitch, a single stitch. So now you have 2 stitches. So just like in knitting you would cast on stitches, we're essentially casting on stitches onto this hook by pulling them or making them or picking them up from this spine. So here I go into the next one, and again you want to make sure that you are picking it up from this spine. So here I go into the next one, And the yarn I'm using here is just 100% cotton yarn, worsted weight. I believe it's the Lily Sugar and Cream brand, but really you could use any yarn. This technique works with any kind of yarn. Wool, acrylic, wool blends, cotton, bamboo, pretty much any yarn. So all you're doing, as you can see, is all I'm doing is going down the length of these chains, picking up stitches from that spine. And so if you need 15 stitches, then you're going to do a chain of 15, or you're going to chain 15 at the start. Then you're going to skip that first one, and then you're going to pick up the remaining 14. And for this last one, again, pay attention so that you're making sure you're picking it up from that spine. Okay, and once you've picked up all the stitches, you'll see there's a nice little edging that happens over here, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 stitches. Okay, lucky 13 stitches. Now, Tunisian crochet is basically 2 types of stitches, or 2 rows that you need to know how to do. Once you know to do that, then you're essentially just repeating that. So once you have your stitches onto the hook, what you need to do is, for the first stitch, all you're doing is just a single crochet through, or just pulling it through, okay, through just that first stitch. But then after that, for the rest of the row, you're going to be pulling from 2 consecutive stitches. It might be a little bit tough on that first row, but you'll get it. Okay, again, you're going to pull it from the next 2 consecutive stitches. And again, the next 2 stitches. And you're going to do that all the way down to the end of the row. 2 stitches at a time. So just the very first stitch, you're pulling it out of just 1 stitch. But then after that, you're going 2 stitches out. I'll put my yarn over here so I have a little bit of room. Okay. And you're just going down the stitches 2 stitches at a time until you do the last 2. Now you'll notice that we have a nice little row that has these vertical lines. Okay, so our very first stitch has its own vertical line, and then there's vertical lines right next to it. So if you count each one of these vertical lines, we should have 13, including this very last one vertical line. Okay, so for the next row, again, you're going to skip this first vertical line. Okay, don't pick that one up, but what you're going to do is you're going to insert your needle into, or the hook into the next vertical line right there, and pull a stitch through that. You're going to do the same thing on the next one, and I kind of use the thumb of my left hand to just kind of make a little hole under that so my hook can go through it, and I can pull the stitch. And that's all you're doing all the way through to the end. And this is why it is sort of a cross between crochet and knitting, because just like crochet, you're using a hook, and like knitting, unlike regular crochet where you just have 1 stitch on the hook, like knitting, you've got multiple stitches on the hook. Now when you come to that last vertical line, and I'm going to tighten this up here a little bit. When you come to that last vertical line, you have a choice. You can either just put your needle through that vertical line like that and pull your stitch out, but it doesn't give you a very nice edging if you do that. So what I'd like you to do is if you flip it over, you'll see that there's actually 2 little lines, 2 little vertical lines, sort of a V that forms there, right? Like a V. So what you want to do is you want to insert your needle through both of those lines, both of those V's like that. Okay, and now you're pulling your yarn through both of those. And when you do it that way, you get a little bit better edging on this edge. Okay, and that's it. Those are just the two basic rows that you need to know for Tunisian knitting or crocheting. So again, for the next row, you're doing the same thing. You're decreasing the stitches, but remember, for the first one, you're just going to take it, pull it out of just the one chain, and then after that, you're pulling the yarn through 2 stitches at a time. Okay, so just 2 stitches at a time. And really, that's it. That is Tunisian crochet in a nutshell. Okay, the following row, again, you're going to start picking up stitches. Leave out this first one, this first vertical, skip that one, and start from the next vertical, and you'll be picking up stitches. And then when you're done with your piece, it's going to look like this, all rolled in. Okay, but if you steam block it, it will flatten out. And then you can make patterns on it with a contrasting color. You can also, when you're doing the Tunisian crochet, you can join and use multiple colors. There's a few other techniques, but this is the basic technique you would need to know to get started with Tunisian crochet and to end up making pieces like the sunglasses case, or just a simple placemat even. So I hope you do give Tunisian crochet a try. And if you have any questions or have any hints or ideas, suggestions, please leave a comment. And if you want to watch more videos, please subscribe to my channel, Miss Knittycat Knits. Thank you for watching, and happy knitting and crocheting.